What? I'm checking if I'm in shot. You're watching this going, he's lost his fucking mind. He's actually fucking cracked. We could see the cracks. They were coming for months. And then he just showed up on video one day doing this. Like a funky Jesus. Now I'm checking how far I can go. I got it on a weird setting. So hello and welcome to the video. I'm going to say words and you're going to listen. Maybe you'll be doing the dishes whilst you're listening. Maybe you'll be doing a crossword. I don't know, you can do what you want. That's your right as a sovereign human being. You're here of your own free will and volition. Nothing I say represents legally binding or qualified medical advice. It's just my dumb opinion. So I'm going to just do this without any kind of structural format. I've been posting a lot of videos recently. They're quite short, they're quite clipped, which is a good format. It works. I mean, some people have like a quite short attention span for YouTube, and then other people are going, no, we like the long rambling ones. Okay, so here's a more of a longer rambling one. I'm very far away here, aren't I? Let's improve the intimacy. Now, as I get closer, is this provoking abandonment anxiety? This is what intimacy is all about. See, I'm safe out here. And you just check your emotional state and go, yes, I like him at that distance, that's a good distance. Maybe a little closer, yes, I'm comfortable. But then as I get closer, you might freak out. Monsters are real. Some of you people are monsters. Some of you monsters are people. All of us have a dark side. And there's a lot of people in psychology and in like the more spiritual field talking about working with the dark side, working with the shadow self. Never really appealed to me because it sounds like sort of spiritual bypassing. So people will be like, oh yeah, I've resolved my like dark side. And I'm just going, no, you clearly fucking haven't. You emotionally immature nitwit. You clearly haven't. And so I never really got all that involved with it. I was listening to Jordan Peterson interview recently, and he used the word monster. And I was like, yeah, I can relate to that more. I can relate to the idea of people being a monster rather than just having a dark side or a shadow self. That sounds so cute. Yeah, I resolved my shadow self. I really was just having that extra slice of chocolate cake. It's like, no, you were being a horrible fuck. You were being a monster. You know, you weren't just being slightly selfish or slightly exploitative. You were being awful. We all have this monster inside of us. Jung was right. And I think that what happens with intimacy as two planets, people come closer together and the risks get higher. There's more vulnerability, there's more intimacy as you get higher, as you get closer, then the chance of you meeting each other's monster is going to increase. Plus, over a timeline where there are external factors outside of the relationship that come in, external stresses, plus intimacy, means you're going to come face to face with somebody's shadow self, with the monster that they have inside of themselves. And you know, the hopefulness for whether that has a positive resolution or not, and so whether that actually works out to be okay or not, really comes down to that person's emotional maturity levels and your emotional maturity levels, and how accepting they are of the fact that they have a monster, that they have a shadow self, that they have traumatic responses that are triggered by intimacy, to fight, to fawn, to become bullying, to become aggressive, to become passive aggressive, to become manipulative, to become controlling, to become denying of the other person's reality, which, you know, is one of the cruelest forms of narcissistic abuse that exists, to just deny you your subjective reality, where you say, I feel this way, and the other person goes, no you don't, no you don't. That's awful, that's a horrible thing to do. And what's the opposite of that? Love. And what's love look like? So I was doing a meetup in London, it's a couple of years ago now, and one of the dudes that came to the meetup group was like, oh, I read a book, and it said that when you're overcoming trauma, one of the things that's useful to do is to re-establish a definition of what love is. And apparently re-establishing our definitions and our beliefs around love, I've spoken about this a couple of times on the channel, helps us to redefine our boundaries around the issue of intimacy and love, and also to guide us towards a version of love that we would like to experience, unlike versions of love that we may have experienced up to this point. What kinds of things could love be? How should love feel? What should it look like? How will I know that that is what love is? Maybe love is generous. Maybe love is seeing the other person as they are and accepting them as they are in the moment. All of them, every part of them. Maybe love is non-judgmental, is non-critical, generous, warm, accepting, kind. Maybe it's kindness. Maybe it's to see the other person vulnerable, to see the other person naked, to see the other person not at the social level of personality masks, but to come closer in and see them as they truly are. Maybe love is accepting the monster in the other person and to recognize that there is a monster there and go, oh, I've seen your monster, okay, and you're going to see the monster in me, okay. Do I run? Do I fight it? Or do I just go, oh, I'm experiencing the monster, so therefore we're becoming more intimate. Maybe this is a healthy thing, maybe this is a good sign because it shows you're becoming more vulnerable with me. Then the question is, how do we process that? How do I deal with that darkness, that traumatic response in you, that fear in you, in a way that is loving, in a way that is compassionate, in a way that is kind, in a way that I'm so self-aware and detached from outcome, I resist the temptation to guide you in your moment of weakness in a certain direction, because that's wrong, morally wrong. It's cruel, and it's wrong to corrupt and influence another person's will to try and make them fit your vision of what a perfect partner should look like, or your vision of what perfect love should look like. So love should be kind, it should be accepting, it should be open, and it should be truthful. So I was having conversation, one of many, with a close friend of mine just today, and that issue came up, and we were talking about honesty and authenticity and how a pretty lie is always going to be worse than an ugly truth. Ugly truth will always be better. And I was sort of saying, yeah, you know, it's the truth is always going to set you free, whereas love is always going to imprison you. So then you could reduce it to a pithy little statement like, lies bind, truth frees. That's a good one. I'll make an Instagram meme, I'll put it up there, put it on my Facebook and go, that's clever, innit? And people will go, like, and I'll go, oh, likes, like it more, give me my supply. But it's an important thing to hold in consciousness. Truth frees, lies bind. They bind in a metaphorical sense, sometimes in a quite literal sense, and sometimes in what you could call a spiritual or a magical sense. What is one of the names of Satan, the great enemy, the Prince of Lies? What is the symbol for the devil within the tarot cards? It's the devil sat on his throne and two naked people chained to his throne, bound by lies, bound by the lies that our eyes tell us about the material world. Because our eyes and our five senses say this is it, this is what's real, the vulgar, the material, the temporal. You know, I'm trapped in time, I'm stuck in time. My condemnation is I'm trapped in the finite, I'm trapped in time in a world that is imperfect. And as Jordan Peterson said in the interview I was listening to, it's touched by malevolence. It's an imperfect world touched by malevolence. Lying binds the darkness in. Remember the Lord of the Rings? And in the darkness bind them. Which is why I always laugh when people want to do like Lord of the Rings wedding ceremonies and they dress up like elves and stuff and then they hand the rings over. I'm like, you know, in the fucking story that's a curse, right? This bind in the story of Lord of the Rings is not like a loving bind that's eternal. It's binding people into darkness under one ruler. That was the idea, a tyrannical, all-seeing eye who towers above everything, and all it is seeking to do is to generate chaos and pain and suffering and to enslave the little light beings in that domain, the friendly little creatures in that domain, and to corrupt them, to turn them, to make them evil, to make them greedy, to make them addicted to the material world, to just saying, fuck it, this is all I am. So I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want with myself, and I'm going to experience as much pleasure as I can, and then become anxious, and then become depressed, and then become suicidal. It's dark. So what's the opposite of that? Following a more loving path, following a path of a higher consciousness, following a path that is committed to truth. You can truth your way out of heartbreak. You can truth your way out of post-traumatic embitterment syndrome, but it takes strength, and it takes courage, and it takes commitment, and it takes discipline, and you have to be committed to telling the truth, no matter what. And you have to be committed to being rigorously honest with yourself, no matter what. If you're bound now, and you can't move forward, and your samangat has been hijacked or been corrupted or damaged by somebody else, you need to look at the lies that you're addicted to, the non-truths that you're addicted to. What could love look like? Love could be a synchronous meeting with somebody who you were always supposed to meet, who maybe you've always known, coming into your life and telling you truths from a higher plane of consciousness that have always resonated with you. You know, love could be permitting that consciousness into your most intimate space and saying, yeah, this is where I hang out. And they go, oh yeah, okay, this is where you hang out. So that's interesting. I kind of noticed though, you have this and this and this, and those things are causing a lot of problems. Do you need them? And you're just going, wow, no, I totally don't need that. Thanks for fucking pointing that out. Love can be honest. Love can be intimate. Love can also be saying, hey, you know, there's something you're doing right now that really doesn't fucking serve you. Maybe you should consider the options here, without a coercive or bullying or manipulative element to it. The path of lies, the path of binding, is really, you know, if you like maybe of a more spiritual twist on the whole cluster B personality disorder syndrome, is people who, through the trauma and pain of their childhood, these little lost children, going dark and committing to lies in their hearts, just saying, this is an evil world. I was born into an evil world. Fuck it. I'll lie my way through this. I'll absorb the survival strategies of the people who are torturing me and abusing me. I will commit to the belief that might is right, and that the end justifies the means, and the morality means nothing, and that, you know, paraphrasing inappropriately, God is dead. These are the times we live in. It's a post-ideological age, and if we don't give ourselves a new belief system and a new structure and a new intent to work towards as a group, as a mass, as a tribe, as a species, we are royally fucked. And you can see we're royally fucked. I don't think anybody questions that. Like, we have more stuff, we are safer, we are more fed than we've ever been in human history, and we are fucking miserable as a species. So part of that is people taking over who've committed to a path of lies and of binding others for power. It's power. It's a drive to power. It's a drive to control. It's a drive to protect yourself through foul means instead of choosing the harder path, the light path, through good intention, through a loving intention, and coming from a higher consciousness. Sometimes what you're going to find with very narcissistic types is their commitment to the world of lies is so strong that the reason your relationship with them is so bewildering and confusing and traumatic is they've committed to trying to live their whole life and their whole persona as a fantasy. And it's like being dragged onto a film set to shoot a film, but you don't know you're on a film set and you don't know you're in a film. But that personality that you have through corrupted love, through attachment disorder, through trauma in the area of love somewhere in your life, become bonded with, is actually recruiting you for a specific job, but they just never told you. They're trying to get you to make the movie that they have in their head of how their life should be and who they are real. They're trying to make a fantasy real. That's why it's so bewildering. That's why they're so bullying. That's why they're so provoking. That's why they're so dismissive when they're done with you. You know, because they are the star. They're the writer, they're the director, they're the producer, they're the star. In their world, in their reality tunnel, they hold the frame. The set is theirs, the cameras are theirs, the sound equipment is theirs, the budget is theirs. You are just a fucking actor, and you will do as you're told, or there's the fucking door. So, hyper idealization phase. Oh, you're so wonderful. You know, you sit with the evil Harvey Weinstein character. You're perfect for this role. You're so beautiful, you're so wonderful. How talented an actor, how talented an actress you are. Yes, perfect. We're going to give you a big role, your big role. Oh, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge role. Come inside. Yeah, just sign this contract. Don't read it. Sign it. We need it in blood. It's a silly thing we do around here. Just a bit of blood. No big deal. Sign that. Okay, deal with the devil made. Do your fucking job. Whoa, you've been really nice to me yesterday. Now the contract's signed, mate. Do your fucking job. All right, what am I doing? Figure it the fuck out. And nobody's ever gonna, none of these types are ever gonna say to you, this is exactly what I need from you, darling. This is what we're doing today. This is your intention. This is the energy I need. This is the interaction. That's never gonna happen. It's always gonna be, do as you're fucking told. Figure it out. And you go, okay, and if I don't, I'm gonna scream at you, or I'm gonna hit you, or I'm gonna punish you, or I'm going to banish you from the realm. Because if you're not going to do your fucking job, there's the door. And it's a cold world out there, kid. And they'll just push you out the door. That's the discard phase. If you keep resisting, if you keep struggling, if you won't read your fucking lines, if you won't follow the script, if you won't make them feel the way they need you to make them feel and everybody else to make them feel, if you won't commit to this project, if you won't commit to this movie, if you won't commit to this role, there's the fucking door. And when you're out, you're out. That's the discard phase. You might get outside and go, it is a cold world out here. Damn, I'm self-isolating. I don't know how to connect with other people. I don't know how to hold my own love, my own self-worth inside of my own body. I was never taught how to. It was better on set. At least I had something there, and you try and get back in. Maybe they'll let you, maybe they won't. But that's the frame, that's the paradigm, that's commitment to a lie where the character, the person you're dealing with, has committed to making their whole life a pretty lie rather than face an ugly truth. And so they bury the truth, they hide the truth. Truth becomes the enemy and the lie becomes the friend. And you'll say to me, okay, well, how does that describe narcissistic covens? How do these people get together? Because they're committed to the same game. They're committed to making lies truth. They're committed to making movies. They're all movie makers. They're all storytellers. They're all spell binders. And they need stars to do that. They need higher light beings to do that. I mean, you can have your grubby, dull souls come in. They can be the extra over there. They can be the guy in the back of the cafe in the background, but that's not a star. I need something bright and shining to consume its energy. So I'm a star eater. I devour light. So bring it to me. Bring it to me. Let me use it for 10 years, however the contract lasts. And once I've finished exploiting it and draining it, and I've got it addicted to drugs and traumatized by the sexual exploitation I put on it, just kick it the fuck out. It's done. There's new stars. That's a dead star. That's an old star. That imploded years ago. Why are you talking to me about that actress? Fuck her. Why are you talking to me about that guy? He's a fucking burnout. No, we had him 6 ways to Sunday. He's used. Fuck that guy. No, more. Give me new. This is a grand scale, systematic commitment to telling lies and binding people through spells and consuming light. They need light people. They need stars. And if they don't have that, then they die and they fade away, which is why they get so angry and so frustrated and so punishing when you start to look like you're going to take that away from them. Or you say, this is not real life, this is a film. That's a movie set. That's not a gun, that's a water pistol. That's not the sun, that's a light that's making me sweat because it's too hot, And you start pointing out the flaws in the set or the flaws in the plot lines. Like, people don't talk like this. This would never happen. You do that, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're completely fucked. So, commit to truth. Commit to telling the truth. Realize what this is. Wake up to what this game is. Commit to moving forward. You may as well. You only have so much time here. Commit to recovering from CPTSD. Get all those symptoms sorted out. We have the resources in order to do that. Recovering from codependency, okay, that's a bigger challenge. That's going to take a little bit longer, but you're not going to recover from codependency without recovering from CPTSD. Keep the faith. Don't lose hope. Don't turn towards bitterness. There is another side to this. There is an out, but you are going to have to go through some painful experiences. I think I haven't seen another way out of it but through. And that's a transcendence, and it's an initiation. It's a trial by fire, and it hurts. But on the other side of it is freedom, is love, is the capacity to love again, and the capacity to be loved again, which is grace itself. It's the best thing. So we've got some other stuff going on at the moment. I'm going to release a course for you. That is called Repatterning the Inner Parent, and that's another piece in the puzzle of recovery from CPTSD. It talks about, its main focus is a different model of CPTSD, and don't be mad at me, it's a Freudian model. It's very psychoanalytic, but I found it works really, really well, and I've got great results personally and great results with clients from using it, so that'll be out soon. And the other thing is, I've got trained coaches now. They're all Scousers. You know, so that's the first qualification. Like, were they psychologists? Were they, the psychologists, the coaches, they're Scousers first and foremost. So it's the same vibe, same value system, and they can help you through this. They are also teaching as part of the course Repatterning the Inner Parent. So there's a 6 coaching session course that you can do with them if you're interested in it. The details of that, I guess I'll put it below this video. And they're trained by me. They're in constant interaction with me. If there's any tweaks or updates or anything that need doing, it's handled by me. The course is 6 one-hour sessions with them, and then there's a ton of coursework. That sounds frightening, doesn't it? There are some exercises to be done in between the sessions. You'll be expected, whilst you're doing the life coaching sessions with them, really to be able to commit to 20 to 40 minutes of work outside of the sessions as well, every day. But some of this is really passive. Some of it is just listening to audios. That's just me straight in your ear, just saying, okay, think about this, focus on that, do this, do that, the other. And some of it is like certain written exercises, but you get like really, really extensive descriptions of how to do that as well. So if that would interest you, you can hit the link below. And we've got slots open now. Like, we've got a few slots open this week, so you can be getting your coaching within the next 5-6 days, if that's something that you think that would be a good idea for you to do. I am going to stop there, and I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope that you found it useful. As ever, thank you very much for your time and your attention. And if you do get somebody who's trying to turn you into something that you're not, trying to push your boundaries, trying to coerce you, remember, non-servium all the way. All right, thank you.